actually going to start today standing. I do have a few disclaimers before we get started with the warm-up. I unintentionally increased the intensity level of this class. This one specifically, not the class in general. So just be prepared for that as we walk in today. I promise I still have modifications for everything. But I just wanted to let everybody know in case you do feel like something's super difficult in today's class, take modification, take a break. That would be completely justifiable because today is a little bit harder. That being said, everybody joining us online, the equipment that we're using today is one single dumbbell. You have the option to use a ball if you do have that available to you instead of a dumbbell. I'd recommend getting two different weights of a dumbbell. I have a 5-pound and an 8-pound. And then the blocks are available for one of the movements just as a modifier, so they're going to be our friend today, not our enemy. Other than that, again, just take breaks when you need it. And we'll go ahead and get started. If you have a watch, don't forget to turn that on. We're going to start with those deep breaths, slight bend in those knees, reach all the way up, length through the fingertips, and lowering back down. You can add a little heel lift if you really want to add some length in there. It's really just about warming up the body, preparing for today. It's kind of a full body workout. Not too much core in the beginning like we usually do, just because we're utilizing core throughout the entire class. I don't want to have anybody burn out today. And on your next inhale, we're going to reach, and we're going to step our right leg behind, have a slight bend to the left, stretching out the right side of our body, staying lifted through the left, utilizing that core. Exhale, let's come back to center. Lower and lift. Doing the same thing for the other side. Step that left leg behind. Staying lifted. We'll come back through center. Same thing again for both sides. One last time. Utilizing that breath. Seeing if you can reach a little bit further. Bend a little bit deeper. Deep breath in. Let's come back through center. Exhale. We're going to fold over those knees. Go ahead and just hang here. Let the spine lengthen. Grab onto either elbow. Alternate bending each knee. Trying to keep the movement flowing here since this is a warm-up. Take another deep breath in. Coming back through center, go ahead and place your fingertips on the mat. We're going to bend our right knee, lift up through the left arm, reach to the left fingertips. Expanding through that chest. Go ahead and take your gaze and look all the way up to the fingers. Exhale, let's close that gap. Come back to forward fold. Inhale, bend the left knee, open up through the right arm. Again, looking up at your fingertips. Exhale, fold back through center. One more time each side. Opening up through the left arm, bend that right knee. See if you can reach a little bit further. Open that chest a little bit wider. And close that gap. Inhale, reach to the right arm, bend the left knee. And let's come back through center. Hold here in that forward fold. One deep breath in. Exhale, we're going to walk our hands all the way into that downward facing dog, pressing through the shoulders, squeeze through the core, lifting your seat bones all the way up to the ceiling. Should almost feel like someone's taken a string, connected it to your tailbone, and is pulling you up. Keeping a gentle bend through the knees. Maybe you start alternate lifting either heel. More deep breath in. Exhale, we're going to lower down onto our knees. Sending those hips back. We're going to find an extended child's pose flow here. We're going to hold one deep breath in. And on that inhale, we're going to send ourselves all the way forward. Bring your hips to the mat and look up. Coming into that cobra. Exhale, sending those hips back. Inhale, sending the hips forward. Warming up the spine. Warm up the shoulders, gentle warm up for the wrists. We're keeping everything light and flowy right now. Focusing on the muscle engagement. Try not to let the mind stay preoccupied. We want to focus on what's going on right now. Go ahead and give me one more deep breath in. We're going to hold. And that cobra, feel free to look over either shoulder just to increase the depth of the stretch. Take another deep breath. We're going to cross our legs behind us and just gently come into that seated position. Starting with a little bit of core, but not too much. Go ahead and grab whatever size weight you would like. We're going to extend our legs all the way out straight. Go ahead and point those toes as well. We're going to do a few roll-ups, so our arms are going to extend up and overhead. We're gently going to roll through the core all the way down onto our spine. Arms elongate overhead, still engaging through that core. Exhale, we're going to reach all the way back up and roll to that starting position. Inhale, lower. Finding a reach. Exhale, lift all the way back up. We're taking this as slow as we can because we do want to feel each row of those abdominals working. Adding just a little bit of an arm component to this. Keeping those toes pointed. Let's do 2 more, and then we'll stack onto this movement. Reaching really hard this last time. Now we're going to roll all the way up, coming into that sitting position. We're going to bring our left leg up to tabletop, lowering it back down. And the next time we lift, we'll bring our right leg up, just alternating the movement. Don't you worry, we'll stack onto this movement too. Just want to get used to the movement, activating through the core. You might feel a little bit of activation through the hips, but it should not just be your hips working here. You really want to make sure your core is what's lifting that leg. Last one, we're going to add on from here. If you feel comfortable, we're going to lift all the way up. This is going to be a super challenge for the balance. We're going to try lifting both legs at the same time, and we'll just lower it back down. Still the same motion, just a double leg lift to tabletop, if that feels good to you. Remembering that option to just alternate lifting either leg. Staying braced through that core. Really stressing the importance of keeping everything slow and in control. Go ahead and add on. So as you lift your legs to that tabletop position, we'll drop the weight, lift it back up, and lower all the way down. Good job, You've got it. Keeping that balance. One left, and then a little bit more to stack on here. We're gonna go ahead and do that roll up, finding that double leg lift, and we're just gonna lower and lift the dumbbell. So holding here, lower and lift, really extending, lifting through the core. Shoulder blades back and down, lift through that chest, finding your balance. For 4, 3, 2. Last one, lower that dumbbell, bring it to your chest. Elbows are wide, and we're gonna add a twist. Just twist left and right. You've got it, extending through the top of your head. 4, 3, 2, 1. We're extending the dumbbell all the way overhead again and going into that drop. Lift, lowering back down. Only 6 of these. You've got it. Drop, lift, and lower. Using that core. You might feel a little bit of hip flexor action going on here. That's okay. Just don't lose the core. Last one. Go ahead and lift. Find that reverse tabletop and just hold. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Drop it all down. Give yourself a nice 15-second break. Stretch everything out. And then we'll hit the ground segment for today's workout. Whatever you need to do. Option to grab some water. But when you're ready, we'll meet back in that tabletop position. We're going to start with the left leg. All we're doing is boxing out that left arm, falling onto our right forearm. Feel free to put the weight between your calf and your hamstring if you want to have a higher intensity level for today. But if you're not looking for something super extreme, you can always use that ball, tuck it between your calf and your hamstring, and you can lift from there. I'll be using the weight, but just remember at any point in time, you can sub for the ball. So coming down onto that forearm, box out the left arm. We're just going to do a few donkey kicks, so go ahead and flex that foot and extend all the way up. Should feel like you're trying to press the bottom of your foot into the ceiling. Make sure you're really lifting through that left glute. You might feel a little bit of activation through the stabilizing glute here, so your right butt cheek, but don't forget about the core and just staying braced, slow, and in control. Keeping that spine elongated, pressing through the shoulders. Chin is lifted. Just embracing a little bit of a burn through the glutes here. Keeping a 90-degree angle between your ankle, your knee, and your hip. As you start to feel a little bit more confident with this movement, we're going to add on. So the next time we lift, we're going to keep that leg high. We're just going to pulse for 2 and lower all the way back down. Lift, pulse for 2, really getting into that glute, and lower. Making sure your foot is still flexed. You still have a neutral spine. Your gaze is a little bit forward. Protecting your wrist. If at any point in time you need to transition to balling up your fist, stabilizing there. 2 more. 3. I'm counting backwards. Whoops. Last one. We're going to lift the leg all the way. You know what's coming. We're just going to pulse for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Don't drop that leg. We're going to externally rotate that knee. Bring it all the way in and come straight into some fire hydrants. So lifting to the side, really focusing on activating the outside of that glute now. If you need a little bit more support, you can always brace yourself on that block. So putting that block under your forearm and adding a little bit more height, completely optional. For 3, 2, last one. If you would like to add on and you're feeling super comfortable here, you can always lift up that arm and keep with the fire hydrants. Trying to lift that knee all the way in line with your left glute. Feel free to take any modification that you need. And if this is still way too easy for you, you can always add in an arm sweep. So reaching that arm forward and sending it back. For 5, 4. You can always stay boxed out as well. That's totally optional. 3, 2. Last one. You know it's coming. We're in a pulse for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lowering that leg. Go ahead and grab that weight. We are not done yet. This is where all the fun, juicy stuff comes into play. We're going to rotate inward on that knee, so having a full pivot. Make sure your hips are stacked over your knee here. You're gently going to brace yourself on your arm or on your palm here. If this ever gets too difficult, balls are running away, you can always grab that block and add a little bit more height support just to help with the bracing of the core, putting it on any setting that feels comfortable for you. But if you're with me, all we're doing in this position is we're gonna open, rolling all the way up, having that straight line, and we're gonna close. Roll to open and close. Squeezing through that core. If you do not feel your core, you might need to check in with your posture here. Really lifting through the left obliques. Couple more. 2. Last one. Feel free to add in a little leg lift as you lift that arm as well, pointing those toes and closing it all the way back down. Lift and close. For 3 more. Last one. We're going to leave that leg lifted and continue opening and closing that arm. Trying to make sure our toes are in line with our hip. Three more. You've got it. Last one. We're going to add on a little bit. Go ahead and add in a crunch, knee to elbow. Extend back out, find that length. Open and close. Almost done with this little segment. I believe in you. If you need to take a modification, feel free. Lowering down onto that hip or onto your forearm. Last one, we're just gonna crunch it out for 8, 7, 6. Glutes are on fire. Take a break if you need it. 2 more to go. Last one. Go ahead and reach overhead and lengthen. You know what's coming. Just pulse it out for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lowering that leg. This is where things get a little bit tricky. So this next movement, we have a few different variations for it just because it does get super confusing and can hurt if you don't do it right. The first modification I'll show you is on that forearm. We have our weight overhead. You're on your hip. You're going to lift your hip all the way up, reach back, lower hip, lift hip, reach up, and thread through. So we're lowering down, we're lifting, and we're threading through. You're using your glute, you're using your obliques, where you're keeping that pressure off your wrist and minimal pressure in that shoulder. If you do feel like you're unbalanced at any point in time, you can always put that ball underneath your ribs and help you here. However, if you do want to take the more intense version, we're gonna stack on top of that right shoulder. We're gonna send our legs out all the way into a little bit of a side plank. We're gonna reach overhead, send the hips back, and lift all the way up. Send the hips back, and lift up. We're here for 5, and then we will add on, because what fun is a movement if you can't add on to it. 3, 2, 1. All my modifiers stay with the movement you're doing, but if you've chosen the side plank version, we're gonna add in a little pike reach through, coming all the way back up. Send those hips back. Lift, reach through. We're only here for 5 more. Reach. Really looking for that length. See if you can challenge yourself. 3, 2, feeling the burn in the core. Last one. We're gonna hold all the way up in that side plank or that forearm plank, and we're just gonna pulse the hips up. 4, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Dropping all the way down. Go ahead and give whatever you need to give. A little bit of a break. Roll it out. Find some clarity in the difficulty level that you just did, because oh my gosh. Take a deep breath, get some water. Remember that whatever weight you do on this side, we will be doing the same weight on the other side. But we're gonna come up whenever you're ready, finding that high plank, push back, down dog. This is just a really nice way to stand up, but if you wanna do it any other way, you can. We're gonna walk our feet all the way into a forward fold. Give the shoulders a bit more of a break. We're gonna go into a little bit of a lunge series. This may be where you want to choose a heavier weight. If you do choose to use a weight, if not, you can stay with that ball, you can stay with the block, or you don't need a weight at all. Promise, just do the motions with us. So when you're ready, turn ahead and come all the way up. We're gonna start with that left leg, so keeping all of your weight in that left heel, that left glute. We're gonna step our right leg back, heels lifted up off the ground. And we're just gonna do a little bit of a hip hinge. Bending through that left knee, keep that back leg straight. Lift all the way up. Squeeze through those glutes. Lower and lift. Just barely grazing the shin. You're putting that bend in that front working leg. right toes are on the ground just for balance. Two more. Last one, let's stay in that hinge. We're gonna add a 90-90 lunge to a bicep curl. So bend that back knee, keep that front knee bent the entire time. Constant tension in that left leg. We're just adding a little bit of a bicep curl. Back is straight. We are not injuring our lower back today. Really feeling a burn. Two more. Last one we'll add on. Coming into that hinge, I want you to scooter your right foot forward, just barely touching the ground. And when you scooter, you're gonna add in a little bent over row. Dropping those arms back down, step back, 90-90 lunge. Hinge forward, scooter and bicep curl, step back, 90-90 lunge. Adding in the arm movements, so we're not paying attention to the absolute burn in our left glute right now. You've got it. Only a few more. For 3. Speed it up. 2. Last one, we're just gonna scooter with that row. For 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're not done yet. Step back into that lunge. We're gonna hold and do an overhead press for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and pulse for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lowering all the way back down to the ground. Aren't we so excited for the other side now? I thought that was terrific. Remembering what weight we did for the first side. If you use the ball modification, you're going to use that again. We're going to take like a 10-second break, get some water, stretch out what you need to. When you're ready, meet me back in that tabletop position. We're going to place that weight or the ball between that back leg, pressing through the left shin, flexing through the right foot, box out on that forearm, and kick back, stamping the ceiling with the bottom of your foot. Press through the glute. The only bad side about coming on to the other side here is that the left glute is still going to be on fire as it stabilizes us, but that is okay because we're having so much fun. Only a couple more, you've got it. 3, 2. Last one, we'll add in that double pulse to lower. Lift, pulse, pulse, lower. Keep that core stabilized. Keep your line of sight in front of you. Press through those shoulders, keeping them away from our ears. For 3, 2. Last one, just pulse it out for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Keep that leg lifted, rotating it inwards, coming straight into those hydrants. Kicking all the way to the side, lifting through the sides of our glutes. Don't let that core give up. Check that you're pressing through those shoulders. Final little push of class. You've got it. For 3, 2, One option to lift that opposite arm all the way up and just do your fire hydrants. Remembering what you did on the other side, trying to replicate it. 3, 2, and 1. Option to add in that arm swing. I will not be. If your left glute loves you tomorrow, you are a lucky woman. Couple more, you've got it. For 5, 4, 3, 2. Last one, you know the deal. We're just gonna pulse for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lowering all the way down. We're not done yet. Remember your modifications that you took on the other side. We're rotating on that left knee, opening the hips up to the wall to our right. We're gonna grab that weight, placing our weight on the left shoulder and left palm. I can't breathe. We're gonna open our chest all the way up to that right wall, keeping that straight line from the shoulders, opening the collarbones, length through the arm, and close. Roll to open, press, and close. Keep that core stabilizing you. Hip is stacked over the knee. Slow and in control. Take those breaths. Keep that quality. You've got it. You guys are doing so good. We only have a little bit left, I promise. There is a stretch in our near future. As we add that arm lift, feel free to lift the leg with it as well and close back down. Feel free to ball up your fist at any point and put the pressure through your knuckles. See if you can lift that leg a little bit higher. 2 more. Last one, we're gonna leave that leg lifted and just open and close. For 3, 2, last one, we're adding that crunch, elbow to knee, extend back out, and lower. Roll to open, crunch, and lower. And a couple more. Last one. We're just gonna crunch it out. Elbow to knee. 3, 2, last one. Extend that leg out and pulse for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lowering back down to the ground. If you need to, oh my gosh. Last little bit, remembering the modified versions here, you have the option to brace your obliques with that ball, but you're gonna hold on the hip. You're gonna lower down onto that forearm. You're gonna reach, send those hips back, lift, and thread through. All of my modifiers, we're doing this the whole time. However, if you're up in that side plank, we were gonna build from there. So stacking all the way up, feel free to lower down on that forearm or the hip at any point, sending those hips back, lift up, and come back. Just holding here. 3 more. 2. Last one, we're adding that pike if you're up. So thread all the way through, up underneath. Send the hips back. For 5, 4, 3, 2. Last one, thread through. Lift up, we're pulsing those hips up for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Coming all the way back down, giving yourself a nice break. For about 10 seconds. Getting ready to stand all the way back up. Find that forward fold, lengthening through the spine. Last little push of class, going back into that lunge series. Feel free to grab that weight. If you use the weight on the other side, just try to keep it even here. But now we get to work our right leg. So we're gonna step that right leg forward. We're gonna send our left leg back. We're on our toes. Remember, all of your weight should be in that right leg in the very front. Your toes are just there to balance you. We're bending that front knee. Keep that back leg straight. Do a little RDL, graze the shin, and lift back up. Back is flat, shoulder blades are rolled back and down. Our core is braced the entire time. Deep breaths here. Got it. Keep that slight bend in the knee. Our knee is transitioning from the on top of our heel to over our toes so that we can keep that back leg straight. Couple more. Last one, we'll hold in that hinge. We're going to do a 90-90 lunge to a bicep curl. 90-90 lunge, bicep curl, hinge. That front leg is staying bent the whole time. Do not lose that bend. It is super important. Keep that weight in that front working leg as well. You're here for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Last one. As we hinge, we're gonna go straight into that scooter row. Lunge, scooter row. Remembering the control in these movements. For 3, 2. Last one, we're just gonna scooter and row for 8, 7, 6, bring the dumbbell to our chest, 4, 3, 2, 1, step that leg back, hold in that lunge, overhead press, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, last one. Length through those arms. We'll pulse it out for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. You're done. A little bit of a break. Shake out the legs. Congratulate yourself. You did it. We made it through. And that class was tough. So catch your breath. Stretch out the legs. Get a drink of water. And then we'll get into some stretches. Because I know those glutes are feeling it. Those shoulders are spicy. A few more deep breaths. You're ready? Come back to the back of our mat. Deep breath in and reach. Expand through the lungs, slowing down the breathing. In through the nose, send that breath down to the belly, through the lungs. Exhale through the mouth. One last deep breath in. And reach all the way up. Hands come to prayer. Pressing the palms together. Sending it all the way up. Exhale, folding over those knees. Go ahead and pedal out the legs if that feels good to you. We're gently going to walk all the way into that downward dog that we all love so much. Taking a deep breath in, send that right leg all the way up. Bending that knee, completely optional, and twist those hips. Or you can stay in that three-legged dog. Shoulders are going to stay parallel to the floor beneath you. One more deep breath in. Exhale, bring that knee to your chest. Crossing it over. Coming into a nice pigeon pose. Feeling a nice stretch for the right glute. Making sure we're not leaning side to side. We want to keep our hips facing the wall in front of us. As you adjust to the stretch, you can always walk your hands a little bit further forward, keeping that back straight. Go ahead and hold here for one more deep breath in. Exhale, we're going to shift our weight into our right glute. Swing that left leg all the way over. Bring the outside of your left heel to the top of your right knee. We're in a twist. Press your elbow into your left knee. Doing a nice stretch to the back. Another deep breath in, really looking for length, lifting up through the top of your head. Exhale, we'll unravel, bring those arms back down. Curling through the left toes, kick back, finding your last downward dog of today's class. Same thing for the left leg now, kicking that left leg all the way up. Feel free to stay here in that three-legged dog, or you can bend your knee and tilt those hips. Shoulders stay parallel to the floor beneath you. Nice stretch to the back of the leg and in the hips. Another deep breath in. Exhale, we're pulling our knee to our chest, sending it across, coming into that pigeon pose. Feel free to hold here, and as you slowly adjust in this stretch, you can walk your hands a little bit further up your mat. Take another deep breath in, shifting our weight into that left glute, swinging our right leg around, hook it over your knee, and add that twist. Again, we're trying to open through the chest, finding a little bit of length through the top of our head. Deeper breaths. And exhale, we're going to unravel ourselves Coming all the way into a cross-legged position, the front of our mat. Taking a deep breath in, reaching up and overhead, interlacing those fingertips, pressing the palms to the ceiling. Feel free to take a little side bend here. Inhale through center. Exhale, bend to the other side. Coming back up through center. Rolling out those wrists on the way down. And interlacing our hands behind our back. Opening up through that chest. Rolling out our neck if that feels good to you. We're going to bend both of our elbows, gently setting our hands on our left hip, opening up through the chest, and gently bring your ear down to your left shoulder. Feeling that stretch through the right side of your neck. Coming back through center, we'll switch sides. Palms come to right hip. Right ear gently lowers down to your shoulder, stretching through the left side of your neck. Another deep breath in, send those hands back to center. One last lift through the chest. Feel free to lean forward a little bit if that feels good to you. Exhale, we'll come all the way back to center. Unhook our hands, feel free to roll out the wrists. We went a little bit over today, but that's all I've got for you. Feel free to stay and stretch if that feels good. Other than that, look forward to seeing you all again next week for slightly easier class than what that just was. Other than that, have a good night.